Well, hello. This here is going to be a short video on some of the problems from the Unit 3 review worksheet. So I wanted to help you out, give you at least an example from each of the sections so that you are able to complete it on your own if you're having any struggles with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one from pretty much each of the different sections that we have. All right. So numbers 1 through 6, actually, you could do this however you want. You can use a T-chart and just fill in 3 values like we've done before. Most recently, you have your x and y, and you fill in 3 values, and then you solve for the y. What I'm going to do is a different way for numbers 1 through 3, because these three, I'll erase that. These 3 are all in standard form. And standard form, again, is when the x and the y values or terms are on the same side of the equation. So it works for all 3 of these. And this is the first method we did for graphing. So that method is to find the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And we know if you're looking at a graph and you're finding the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. So no matter where it is, it's going to have a y value of 0. So y equals 0 no matter what. And that'll help us figure out what the x value is. So we have y is 0. For the y-intercept, then the x will always be 0. And we can solve for the y. So we're going to do this. When y is 0, let's plug that into the equation. You have 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 12. The nice thing about that is 3 times 0 is 0. And anything added to 0 is just whatever that thing was. So that's 0. We're just left with 2x equals 12. And then it's only a one-step equation where you divide both sides by 2 to get x equals 6. And now that helps us with the ordered pair because that goes right there. The ordered pair would be 6 and 0. That's the x-intercept. 6, 0. The y-intercept, though, is when x is equal to 0. So we can plug that right in. 2 times 0 plus 3y equals 12. Again, when you multiply by 0, that's why I like this method so much, because you're plugging in 0. This cancels that out. That's just 0. That's nothing. So you're really just having 3y equals 12. And just as before, to solve that, you do one step, and this time it would be dividing by that 3. So y equals 4. And you can put that in, so you'd have 0 and 4, because the point would be 0 is the x, and 4 is the y. And what you do then is plot those 2 points. Oops. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little handmade graph here just to plot those 2 points. I'm not going to be able to make it perfect here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you plot the points. I'll do it in green since I used green before. 6, 0. So you go over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And up 0. So that's just right on the line. That is the x-intercept. And the y-intercept is 0, 4. So 0 over and up 4 right on the y-intercept. Draw a line through it, and you got your graph. The same method would work for numbers 2 and 3 because they're both in standard form. Now, numbers 4, 5, and 6, they could all easily be put into standard form. For instance, by adding 4x to both sides, that would bring the x over there. So you'd have 2y plus 4x equals 8. And you could do the same method. Or maybe this one you want to try using the T-chart. So that's what I'll do for you. Since we did the intercepts with the last one, we'll do a T-chart with this one. So here will be our T-chart. Now remember, you have to pick 3 points if you're doing this method. 1, 0, 1, 2. How about? And those are the x values, so you're going to plug those in each individually for the x. And if you plug 0 in for the x, you have 2y equals -4 times 0 plus 8. And again, anything times 0 cancels out. So we just have 2y equals 8. Divide both sides by 2, you get y equals 4. Okay, that goes right there. Now the same type of thing, the same, steps would work for the next value, where you would have x is equal to 1. X is equal to 1 here. So we'll say 2y, 2y equals -4 times 1 plus 8. And alright, the nice thing about this is -4 times 1 is just -4. And -4 plus 8 is +4. So you have 2y equals 4. To solve for y, you divide both sides by 2. And you get y equals 2. Alright, so there you got that one. And then we just have one left to do. And that would be when x equals 2. So let us do x equals 2, and I will use this color. So 2y equals -4 times 2 plus 8. 2y equals, alright, this is -8. -8 plus 8 is 0. Alright, and then divide both sides by 2. Whatever you do to the right side, it's going to be 0 either way. So y equals 0. And with those points, you can then take that, make your nice little, oops, that's not what I meant to do. Make your nice little graph that you use graph paper. Make a nice little graph. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, 2, 3, 4. And you got 0 over 4 up. There's 1 point. 1 over 2 up. Right there. 0, 2 over 0 up. And you got your line. You draw it through there. So that's approximately what the graph should look like. So you can do the other two just like that one. I'm going to move on to this next section. This next section is just a bunch of t-charts. After you find the values, you may graph them. It's a lot more graphing, but this time you're given equations where it's y equals, and you're given values to plug in. But the thing to note here is that in this case, you're given all the x values, so you plug in for x. Here you're also given all the x values, you plug in for x. Here you have to plug in for y and solve for x. And here you have some of each. So you do both. I think I'm going to go with I'll just do number 7. Number 7, to figure out what y is when x equals -2, same thing here, you're just plugging in for that x. So y equals 2 times -2 plus 6, and that would be -4 plus 6, which equals +2. The next one would be -1, so y equals 2 times -1 plus 6, which is -2 plus 6, which is +4. The next one would be 0, and 0 would cancel this part out, and you just have 6. So I'm not going to even do that. And then 1 would be y equals 2 times 1, which is just 2, plus 6, and that equals 8. Same thing goes for this equation. To find those, you plug in for the x. Here you do it a little bit backwards, and you plug in for the y. So you have 4 for y. Let's do 4 equals x minus 3. You add 3 to both sides. To get x by itself, you get 7 equals x. Now we go right there. 7. And you do the same thing with the other ones. 8, you just have 2 of each. Make sure you're plugging in which for which, and you will get the correct values, and then graph. Alright, so there's that part. This part is a good part dealing with just functions, if they're functions or not. So we have to find the domain, the range, and determine if it's a function or not. So if you recall, figuring out if it's a function, you take that vertical line test. Here we got our magic vertical line here. Take that, and if you go across this graph and it ever crosses 2 points on the graph, the blue graph, then it's not a function. But if you look here, it'll never do that. So this one is a function. This one, unfortunately, is not. It crosses 2 points here and here. Scrolling down, this one it'll only ever cross 1 point, I believe. And this one also only 1 point. So they're all functions except for number 12. And let's do the domain and range of this one. So remember, the domain deals with x. And what numbers are on the left and the right of them. So if you look at here, the left end of this goes to -6, the right end goes to 5. So we go -6 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 5. And that's how you'd write it. Whereas the domain here is the y. I'll do that in red. The y's go from -8 all the way up to +8. And there's your range. So that's all that is expected of you from the domain and the range. Now the last portion is finding the solutions to the equations. The solution set, you're given numbers and you need to plug them in. So we'll do number 17. You have an equation, you have ordered pairs. You want to see which ordered pairs make the equation true. So this is our x, this is our y for the first one. Let's plug it in. 2 times -6 minus -7 equals -5. Oops. Alright, so this would be -12, and that would be 2 minuses make one big plus. -12 plus 7 equals -5. And if you can do your math correctly, -12 plus 7 is -5, so -5 equals -5. So this one's good. We'll circle that one. That's a true statement. Now you do the same exact work with the other 3. Only you plug in the appropriate points. And I'll tell you what is the solution set. The ones that are good are the solution set. Alright, so let's try this one. 311. 2 times 3 minus 11 equals -5. 6 minus 11. And that is -5. That's true. Sounds good. Let's try another one. We'll do blue for this one. 2 times 0 minus 5 equals -5. That's just 0, so -5 equals -5. And that one is also true. And we'll try one more. 2 times -1 minus -3 equals -5. So that would be -2 plus 3 equals -5. -2 plus 3 is not equal to -5. That one would actually be 1 equals -5. So that is a false statement. we'll cross that one out. So what I would expect for your answer then is the solution set to this equation. Would be, with the fancy brackets, this is the proper format, the points -6, -7, 311, and 0, 5. With the fancy brackets closing it. So there you go. That is how you complete this set of 3 problems. And the last thing is just the vocabulary. And if you need some assistance with the vocabulary, I would suggest looking up the definitions, putting them in a Quizlet, and studying them from there. It does it for you, makes flip cards for you, or you can make your own. There's a lot of good things you can do there. A lot of this is, some of these are common sense, like linear equation. Just use what you know about the word linear. It's an equation that makes a line. Domain and range, I hope you know. Domain is all the x values. Range is the y values. X intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. Coefficient would be like a number before the variable. Constant would be c. Ordered pair x, y. Mapping is something where you have something like this. Set is a listing t-chart. Independent variable is the x, and the dependent is the y. Replacement set is what we just did in the last one, and the solution set was your answer to that one. Function and relation. All right, so happy studying. Hope this helped.